Everyone, it's been some time since I recorded a wellness moment, and I was inspired by a client of mine who is also starting a small side support for people who are looking to improve their movement and body awareness. And she is actually also creating some videos. So I thought I would get back on creating some wellness moments and perhaps upload this on a wellness thread if I can figure out how to do that with technology. I hope you're doing well. It's March 3rd, 2026. I can't recall the last time I created a wellness moment, but the height of that was mostly through COVID when many of us were somewhat restricted from seeing one another and from acting like we normally would socially in communities. I'm wondering where you're at now with that when you do a little reflection on where we were and where we are today. How are you doing with being around people? I noticed in my practice that some individuals felt that extreme levels of social restriction resulted in some, you know, differences in how you can actually process external stimuli and how it impacts your sense of well-being overall. So you might want to do a check-in on what you feel like when you're in larger crowds. What's it like for you when you're in line at a grocery store? How does it feel when you're with a group of people that you whose company you enjoy, but perhaps there is a limit to how much time you can still spend with them? So I do want to remind everyone that having 2 or 3 years of extreme restrictions did impact, I think, everybody and people in different ways. Um, I also am very aware of young people because I am privileged to continue to teach some of the time at Humber College, Humber Polytechnic. And I have come to learn that some students who were through COVID, migrated to a completely online approach to learning are now continuing to struggle with how do I re-engage with my own peer groups. So for a lot of people, it continues to be a bit of a struggle in terms of normative social interaction with other human people. So it's really a good time to do a check-in. How am I feeling about being with people? How do I find it when I'm out in public and with people I know and people I love? How much of a large group can I handle at any one time? And is that what I was like before COVID happened? And if you feel that there's still been a change, you want to perhaps look at what you can do to reclaim who you were before COVID and get back to that place if that's something you would like to do. I know that with here in Ontario, with people being mandated back to work, there might be some reservation or anxiety created by that kind of regular schedule of getting ready every day, getting in your car or getting on the TTC and getting to work, and the additional stress that that creates in some individuals might just be too much in terms of the way your life is currently structured and your bandwidth or energy, emotional energy. Do you have the energy to cope with really the expectations of daily living? So I say that obviously from a biased perspective as someone who's older and has been around a bit for a while now. I've been working in the field for close for many years, close to 40 years in total, but a good solid 30 some odd years post my master's in social work. And I would say that, we didn't have the option except of getting up and getting in. And so you had to show up, you had to get to where you needed to be. You couldn't work from home. Zoom is a wonderful technology. I think a lot of technologies are wonderful, but I do feel as a mental health practitioner that it has had an impact on our mental health. Having said that, so did being out there every day, fighting, with road rage and fighting traffic and fighting noise and dealing with all of the external stimuli. That also had an impact on mental health and wellness back in the day. So it's all about balance and figuring out what's best for you in light of your current commitments and also in terms of what is being mandated in your workplace. I also believe today, and I also know for a fact, that most people who are working professionals have access to a lot more support, either through an employee assistance family and worker program, the EFAP, such as Homeward Health. I had a privilege of working with them for a number of years as well, and or other similar types employee assistance programs, and or through your health benefit package, which I hope in most cases includes a fund for mental health practitioners. My own health benefit package, which I continue to purchase through RTIP, which is the Retired Teachers Program. I was working in a school board where those benefit packages were extended to affiliate providers of education. So although I wasn't an educator per se, I was a social worker in education and I had access to those benefits. RTIP recently has changed what they support, and there has been a reduction in paramedical practitioners, and that's where some mental health practitioners would find themselves in. And in other professional contexts and corporations, there's been an increase in mental health budgets, which is excellent. And in some very progressive packages, you can decide the areas you want to use your health benefit to cover. And I like that model as well for people. Choice is always a good thing to have. So, all of that to say that if you are finding it a bit difficult and if you don't feel you've returned to your former sense of self in terms of your ability to navigate the social, I'll put that in kind of a fancy term. Can I navigate my own social? Am I able to get out in my local community and greet people, go to my local store, have healthy encounters, chit chat about the weather, about sticker shock, or whatever the theme is for your day? Are you able to do that without a lot of distress? Or do you find by just interacting with a few people, you come home and you're feeling that was very draining for me? I think that might be a sign, right, in terms of how much energy it requires for you to engage in normal activities with other human people. And I believe we need to take the perspective and consider the impacts of COVID on your overall mental health and wellness, and whether or not you have been able to reclaim and recover from that period of time. And if not, meet up with someone like myself. So, registered social workers are mental health providers. A fancy way of talking about mental health provision is psychotherapy. And although there have always been psychotherapists, the training for someone who's in a CPRO, who's a certified registered psychotherapist, is a little bit different than a registered social worker. And I'm proud to identify as a social worker. And those of you who know me know that about me. And so, you can talk to someone like myself. We're easy to talk to. That's part of who we are. And we will make your experience, I hope, quite applied, quite practical, functional, and very, very collaborative. So you will co-create what you think you need to move forward in a way that feels healthy and good to you. So this was far more than a wellness minute, but I'll see whether or not I can put it on a thread or on my YouTube channel or someplace, and I'll try and make it as public as I can. I was also hoping to mirror my image so that you could see Lakeside Wellness Therapy Affiliates, which is the logo I invested in when I opened my in-person office down on Queen back in 2019, just before COVID hit. And then for those of you who work with me, you remember that COVID did hit. So I had an empty space for a number of years, but I don't regret opening the office down there. And I really learned a lot about small startups and local businesses and local business improvement associations and all that stuff. So having the small business for myself has been a bit of a hobby, and I really enjoy continuing to work with people. And on that note, I'll just put a little plug that you can always seek my services through Lakeside Wellness Therapy Affiliates. And I principally operate here in Toronto. However, I am able to offer services across Ontario. And I can do that virtually through the use of Zoom. All right, everyone, I hope you're well. I hope you're enjoying your social. And I look forward to meeting you at some point if you need advanced care. Be well.